Hello, what is up everyone? Today we're going to talk about fasting versus 6 meals a day. You can say 6 meals or multiple meals a day. What is better? What's better for you? What provides more health benefits? What's easier to cut on? What's the better option? So first of all, when I say fasting, we pretty much all know now that I'm talking about intermittent fasting. It's become a massive craze now. It's not really any more secret. But for those who don't know what fasting is, intermittent fasting, I'll just put you there. I'll just give you a quick rundown. Pretty much it's a restricted time eating window. So instead of waking up eating straight away and before you go to bed eating, which could consist of waking up at 7 AM then eating, having your last thing that you eat at 9 PM, instead you'll have a restricted time eating window. So say about 18 hours, fast 16 hours, 8-hour eating. So say you break your fast at 2 PM, you then stop eating at 10 PM. You're only allowed to eat within that time. And the idea behind it is that you're able to control your calories easier. And also, when you're not eating that often, you don't spike your insulin, so your body has to tap into fat reserves, allegedly. And when it comes to 6 meals a day, we all pretty much get that. It's pretty much kind of like eating every 3 hours. You have a set meal every 3 hours. Yeah. So there is benefits to both and there's drawbacks to both, okay? And we're going to get through them in this video. So don't start jumping down my throat that no, fasting obliterates 6 meals a day. Maybe it does in your view, but this is... For argument's sake, let's argue both sides. So fasting, it allows you to eat huge meals. If you just have 2 meals a day and you get all your calories from 2 meals, they can be pretty big depending on what you're eating. If you're eating junk, then you can get through them calories pretty easy. But generally speaking, you get to eat big meals. There's a range of health benefits that come with fasting. There's plenty of studies on it. Type in fasting health benefits into Google. You can read up on that. But just to give you some, your human growth hormone goes up. You stop spiking your insulin, you become more insulin sensitive. When they've done studies on rats that have fasted, they've tended to have a greater lifespan. We don't really know if that works perfectly for humans yet, but if you look at people who do a lot of fasting, who have been doing it for a number of years, they look pretty good for their age. Now, on the other hand, you have 6 meals a day. When I say 6 meals a day, it can be multiple meals a day. It doesn't really matter, just multiple meals a day. When it comes to 6 meals a day, it allows you to more consistently eat. So that can be more preferable for some people. Some people don't like to eat all their calories at once or twice in a day because it can become overwhelming for them. Not everyone's a big eater. It's also extremely beneficial to athletes, in my opinion. It's a much better way of restocking glycogen stores, getting in your necessary nutrients, and you're allowed to eat then a wide variety of food, and more nutrients and more variety, nutrients, stuff, yeah. So first of all, I just want to say, you can gain muscle on both ways of eating. You can lose fat on both ways of eating. Do not believe the bull crap that comes out of people's mouths when they say, if you're eating multiple times a day and you keep spiking your insulin, then you can't lose fat. It's impossible. That is utter rubbish. And it really is, because personally, I've done it. Okay, and you might be thinking, but who are you? But I've seen multiple people do it. Check on YouTube. Check how do boxers and MMA fighters then burn through fat. If you can't eat multiple times a day and burn fat, you can. As long as your calories are down, or you're in a calorie deficit, sorry, and you're eating right, your macros are right, you can still lose fat. Do not believe the crap when people say that you can't, because you can. But fasting can be more beneficial for certain people trying to lose fat because you can plan your calories a bit easier that way. And yeah, there is some benefit to your body burning fat while you're fasting. I get that. But don't think your body fat's just going to melt off and then you can just eat whatever you want. Like within a week of fasting, boom, I'm done. Doesn't work like that. Quick reminder, when you're eating whatever for fat loss or muscle gain, just remember it's always a long-term goal. If something gives you really quick results, you're probably going to lose them results really quickly. Okay, but one thing I found with fasting, if you leave all your calories for 1 meal or 2 big meals, afterwards, personally from my experience, I don't know about you, maybe you feel great, but I can feel quite lethargic afterwards. After I eat such a condensed amount of calories and nutrients all in 1 meal, I feel like I just want to go to sleep sometimes. I feel like I just want to lay down and I'm done. And it's not exactly the best thing to happen to me if I've still got work to do. Especially if you're training again later. Like I say, if you're an athlete who trains twice a day and you eat all 1 massive meal, then sometimes that second performance can be hindered. But hey, everyone's different. What's your personal preference? Maybe it works for you. But for me, no. But going with eating multiple times a day, 6 meals a day, it generally can require meal prep. You don't have to, but you're probably going to have a better time if you do meal prep. it can be a bit tedious having to do it like that all the time. You think 6 meals a day, 7 days a week, 42 meals prepared. Can get a little bit annoying. And also, if you're on a cut, for example, and your calories have to be low to fit in 6 meals or multiple meals a day, if you eat your first meal and you're still hungry, then you eat your second meal and you're still hungry after that, it can become a pain in the ass because you've released that ghrelin, the hunger hormone, whatever it is. Once you've released that and you've still got like a few more meals left, but you're still hungry and you think, oh my God, I have to wait 3 hours for my next meal now. It can be, it's not very nice. Like, I've had experience of that when I was making weight for amateur boxing bouts, and I would do 6 meals a day because I used to believe that it speeds up your metabolism, which it doesn't, by the way. It's pretty much been proven. Doesn't really work like that. But when I was doing it like that and I'd eat my first 2 meals and that, and I was still so hungry after, all I was thinking of was like, oh my God, I just cannot wait for these 3 hours to pass. I'll get to eat again. I was pretty much not living in the present. I wasn't living in the now. I was wishing time away so I could just get to my next meal. Even when I went to bed, I was hoping for the next day so I could eat, which isn't great. But you can come across that problem in fasting too. But going with fasting, in my opinion, it's much easier to hit your correct calories and macros with it, because if you're only eating 2 meals a day, it's pretty easy. Just say you got 2,000 calories to eat. Wow, 1,000 calories, 1,000 calories. Boom, I'm done. Oh my God, that wasn't that hard. So if you're on a cut or you need to lose fat, I always find fasting to be more of a preferable approach, just because for that reason. It's much easier to work it out and to meal prep. Meal prep 2 meals? You can't do that? Maybe you need to free up some time. Although, I do have to admit, when it's time to break my fast, let's say if I've gone on a long fast, sometimes I get so hungry, I leave it too late, and I get so hungry that all I want to do is eat the first thing in sight. I don't want to have to cook and prepare a nutritious meal, which is why meal prep can come in handy. But I don't really want to have to cook and prepare a healthy, nutritious meal. Even once I eat it, I'll be okay, because then it's like, oh, okay, the food's good. But your mind is just like, eat the first thing you see. There's a pack of hobnobs, you want them hobnobs. Maybe you don't like hobnobs, I don't know. And by leaving my fast too long, sometimes when I'm so hungry, I eat all my food so quick. Sometimes I don't appreciate what is laid down in front of me. And I just become like a bottomless pit, this void, this black hole that can just keep eating. Like, you think Matt Stoney can eat? I think I could top him. I probably couldn't. I think I'm talking out my arse there. But nonetheless, sometimes I feel like I can just keep eating. And yeah. And then it can get a bit tedious. I know some people, let's just say they eat, I don't know, whatever their desired calories was in that restricted window of eating, and they eat some food they don't really like, but they get all their calories in, then it can be a bit annoying, kind of, because then you have to wait like another 18 hours till you can eat again. And if you're a foodie, like I like my food, okay, then it may not be for you, but it still can be for you, because you get to eat more in a restricted window. It just depends on what you like. Pretty much a key note here is to plan ahead. Even if you're fasting, even if you're eating multiple meals a day, plan what you're going to have in them meals. I mean, for fasting, it can be cool when you're out and about, just to think, you know what, I've just got to know roughly my calories and I can eat this if I'm out here, blah, blah, blah. But sometimes planning ahead, depending on what you're doing, can be more beneficial, okay? It can't hurt. But fasting in of itself isn't a magical technique for fat loss, okay? I know you get all these people say, I've lost 80 pounds while fasting. It's like, yeah, because you're eating less. You can still eat, if you eat the exact same calories. There has been people that have said they've lost some amount of weight, but don't think it's the key to getting shredded. Getting shredded is having a correct training plan, correct nutrition, correct amount of calories, macros, stuff like that, correct recovery time, okay? Fasting can aid in that. Think of fasting more of a tool to getting towards that goal. Don't think, oh my God, this is why I'm fat, because I've never fasted. I mean, it can help your hormones get into balance, and there's still a range of health benefits. So I always, recommend fasting for the health benefits. I don't just want to convince people to do it because of fat loss, because there's other ways of doing it, and it doesn't magically make you lose weight. But there is a range of health benefits of doing it, so there's still reason to do it. Just don't think that it's the reason. Now, when it comes to hard gainers, people that need a lot of calories to eat, then fasting may not be the best for them, because if they need a lot of calories and they've only got a restricted time window, chances are they're going to get most of them calories from junk food. The reason why? Because if you're eating whole foods, they're not that calorie dense. Like, I'm on a vegan diet at the moment, And the foods aren't that calorie dense sometimes. And when you're trying to eat that all in a small window of time, it can be a pain in the arse. It hurts. Your stomach expands too much. It's too much food to eat. So, what you tend to do, whoo, them cookies are looking good because they're packed full of calories. Not the best choice to make. For example, my friend, he's pretty much naturally athletic. He doesn't even exercise, but he's just shredded. He's got an 8-pack, chest muscles and stuff. He's naturally athletic. But he has had times when he's tried to put on muscle mass and he can't unless he eats loads of food. He has to eat a lot to try and gain muscle. So in terms of if he had to fast, no, he'd be much better off planning out his meals. In that way, he can keep eating at a sustained rate, get the desired amount of calories. Well, otherwise, he wouldn't really be able to do that with fasting. Unless, I don't know, he blended everything and drunk it and he found it better that way. But I do have to admit, if you're, I don't want to say a normal person because there's no such thing as normal these days. But if you're someone who can gain muscle quite easy, can gain fat quite easy, then when you're bulking and you're fasting, it can be pretty darn fun. I mean, you get to eat a lot of food all at once. Yeah, it's a pretty good time. Now, I always find fasting better for traveling when you're around, because if you're out and about and there's only junk food about or there's food you don't want to eat, then you don't have to eat because you've sort of suppressed them hunger hormones and stuff. You can just have a black coffee or something. You don't really need to eat. And if you do eat there and it's something that is higher in calories, generally you've got more calories to spare, so you're pretty much okay there. Whereas if you're having multiple meals a day, like if you have breakfast and then you go out and there's like no good food options for you and stuff, and you're like trying to eat healthy and stuff and there's no good food options, then that hunger hormone is going to kick you in the arse, because it can get painful for going for an extended period of time. If you've eaten breakfast in the morning and you're going for try and go for a long time without eating again, it just feels, you just feel your legs go to jelly, stomach feels like it's got hands clawing in it. It's not that nice of an experience, from my opinion. Maybe some people eat breakfast and then they don't eat again till midnight. I don't know. In terms of actually gaining muscle mass, some people say, no, you have to eat breakfast. You have to eat before you work out. And other people say, but fasting increases your human growth hormone. So wouldn't that be better for gaining muscle? Look, they're both good. You got to do what works for you here. Personally, I like training in the morning. If I train twice a day, then I have to train in the morning. But when I do that first training session, I don't like to eat before I go because it just makes me feel sluggish. Now, I don't know why. I just prefer training my first time of the day on an empty stomach. Whereas some people like to eat breakfast beforehand. But in terms of gaining muscle mass, look, if you're getting stronger on the weights, you can do more reps and stuff, more volume, and you're still getting the right calories. It really doesn't matter. If there is a difference, it's like that. It's not otherworldly here. So pretty much what I'm trying to get at in this video is to do what works for you. And we always hear that. You got to do what you want to do. But you really do. You have to... Right. It's just a way of eating. So you could fast. Like, I generally do long fasts on the days I don't train because I have no need to be eating a lot, if that makes sense. And I'll eat, I don't know, more meals on the days I'm training. Like if I'm training twice a day, then I'm going to eat more meals because it's more suited to me for that day. You don't have to just pick one and think this is it for the rest of my life. No, you can do some way of a technique of eating one day. You can do the other day. What works for you? Like, I don't care if they come out of a study and they say fasting grows your dick by 10 inches. I do not care. If you hate fasting and you just cannot do it and your body feels like crap, then don't do it. You have to do what works for you. Everyone is different. Some people thrive on a keto diet, for example. And you know what I'd say to him? I'd say keep doing it because that works for you. But for me personally, if I go high fat, I feel like crap. I feel like the world's coming down on me and I just feel like a dying slug. So switch between the two. Do what makes you happier. You got one life here, guys. Why would you want to live it in misery? Do what works for you. What makes you happy? What can you sustain? What can you keep doing? There you go. That's pretty much it. What can you keep up? So if you're doing it for fat loss, for example, what makes it easier for you? This is it. What just makes it more sustainable? What's better for you? That's the best way I can describe it. Although there is health, but I do agree everyone should do a fast here and there. Like, okay, fasting, for example, let's just say you eat at 7 in the morning and then you eat at 7 p.m. at night. That's still a 12-hour eating window. So you still do a 12-hour fast. So it's not all that bad. But I do agree, some people, one day a week or so, you should do a fast. It doesn't have to be 24 hours and that. just extend your fasting period a bit. When you go to sleep, that's technically a fast, so just extend it a few hours. There is a number of health benefits to fasting. I do agree with it, but it is not the end all be all. You have to do what works for you. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please subscribe. You can follow me on Instagram at Spencer Penfold. I'll type that in the box below. Any questions, type them. I'll probably make more videos on this because there's so much to talk about with fasting and multiple meals a day in terms of for athletes or for normal people. I don't want to say normal people, but regular people, I guess. So yeah, I hope you've enjoyed it. Do what works for you. I hope you're having a great day and see you later.